In the WLYU tournament, D.R. Meadows, who plays for the 9- and 10-year-old Lions Might team, proved that he is quite a shortstop. He made a lot of plays going to his left and to his right, and he also did something rare in Might ball. He started a triple play.
There's a ground ball up the middle. DR has it, steps to the bag, throws to first base in time for the double play. Here comes one run in. Here's another one, the tag, and he is out. That is 3 outs on one play.
There was a man on first, and I just knew that guy was going to hit it to me, so when he hit it to me, I was just going to touch second and throw it to first, but I didn't know that guy was going home, and it surprised me.
In that same game against Pooler, DR also contributed to a 4-6-3 game-ending double play. And in a game against Glenville, he was involved in 7 plays and didn't make an error.
And he swings and hits it on the ground. Tough hop for DR, but he picks it and fires to first base in time. That was not an easy play for the shortstop for Lions. And the next pitch, and he swings and chops it over to DR, makes the play again, throws off balance to first base in time for another out. Another ground ball to Meadows. He's got it, throws to first base, another out. What can you say about DR other than he's making plays and getting a lot of action?
Me and my daddy, we practice in the backyard, practice pitching in my batting cage, and practice fielding in the backyard with a backhand.
And by the way, DR can also hit the ball.
Next pitch, and he swings and hits it up high into the air to left center field. Tatum going back, it's by him. Extra bases for DR Meadows. Maybe here's a throw to second base, but he slides in safely and beats the tag by the second baseman, Jacob Bowles.
I have a batting cage in my backyard. Me and my daddy, we go out there and hit in it.
Do you like baseball enough where you're watching baseball games on television a lot?
Yes, sir.
And what do you look for when you're watching a game?
The elbow up when they're hitting.
Who are your favorite players to watch?
Chipper Jones, Brian McCann, and...
So you're a big Braves fan?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been playing this shortstop position? Have you been playing it your whole life?
No, sir. I play different positions.
What do you like about the position?
Well, you get to be the cutoff man. You get to cover second. You can turn some double plays.
What is your goal baseball-wise? What would you like to do in the future?
I'd like to play Major League Baseball for the Boston Red Sox.
Really? And you want to be a shortstop in the bigs?
Yes, sir.
So you're willing to put in all that effort to do it?
Yes, sir.
So DR looks ahead, but this is what DR's doing these days, fielding the ball and hitting it.
Here's a ball hit up high into the air to right field. Avery Howe going back. He can't catch it. DR Meadows runs into the first baseman. He's still going to make it second anyway.
Mitchell Pittman was an all-state linebacker at Robert Toombs. He was a Defensive Player of the Year in 2002 and 2003. He could have played college football at many schools where he would have been a starter, but instead Mitchell walked on at Georgia, and he has spent his entire career as a linebacker on the scout team. And although he has dressed out for many games, he had never played a single down in a game for the Dogs. But on Saturday, September 29th, Mitchell finally got his chance. He played 3 plays at the end of the Ole Miss game between the hedges in Sanford Stadium.
I was standing on the sidelines. I was thinking I might be able to go in, and then I heard Coach Martinez, our defensive coordinator, start hollering for my name, so I knew it was time.
Describe the anxiety of waiting so long to get into a game.
Ever since my first game that I dressed out against Georgia Southern in 2004, I've been hoping for that chance, and it's beginning to fade a little bit because this is my last year, and so time was starting to run out.
And remarkably, on one of those 3 plays, Mitchell made a tackle for no gain.
Yeah, it was a little swing pass out to the flats to the back, and we were in cover 2, so I dropped back, and I didn't want to come up too fast and a man slip in with a curl behind me and catch the ball there, but as soon as I saw the quarterback release, I ran up on him and just broke down and held my ground until he made his move.
I know you made so many tackles in high school. You used to hit double digits in just about every game, but what did this one tackle feel like?
This one was a little bit different. I had a few thousand more people watching me, so I didn't want to miss. Just took my time and made sure I watched his hips to see which way he was going and made sure I wrapped up when I made contact.
What was the reaction from your teammates?
They went crazy. I didn't expect that big of a deal about it, but as soon as the last play was over, there was people slapping me in my helmet, telling me good job, trying to pick me up and carry me, and I told them I wasn't up for that. I was afraid I might get dropped, but they were just going crazy. It was great. They're a great bunch of guys.
And Mitchell's accomplishment was recognized by head coach Mark Richt on his television show.
I tell you, right at the very end, too, to see Mitchell Pittman get in that ball game and make that tackle on that screen was unbelievable. He was just hoping and praying for one snap, and he got 3, and he made the best of it.
I would imagine that a lot of people ask you, Mitchell, why did you hang around Georgia for so long? You could have transferred somewhere else and probably played.
Yeah, I've heard it, and I thought about it some, but I wanted to be here mainly for the academics, and football was just a plus. Just being up here in a D1 school with Georgia, who's usually ranked always in the top 25 usually, and I think think we're ranked 12 now. It's just great to be able to say that I play for a team that's that well known nationally.
On January 3rd, at the age of 25, Eddie Dixon from Emmanuel County scored his first collegiate points for the Bruton Parker Barons.
Picked up by Dixon, pulling up 16-footer swish. Piho with a great steal, and then Dixon knocking in his first shot as a Baron.
I feel excited. It's been a long time coming. I've been through a lot. I haven't gave up, so I'm just so excited. I'm not really nervous. Just that drive, I want it. It's been a long time, and it's always been a dream of mine to play in college. And here it is, so I got to go get it. I got to go at it as hard as I can.
When you're older, do you appreciate opportunities like this more?
Going about how I got here, I appreciate it more. If, like my father always told me, if it's easy, it ain't worth having.
So why did it take Eddie so many years to score those first collegiate points? Well, after graduating from ECI High School, Eddie went into the Air Force.
For the main reason for discipline, and just to get away from a small town and just to see the world, basically, and just to learn new things.
Eddie was an electrician in the Air Force, and he wound up in, of all places, Alaska. And guess what?
It was cold. And I saw a lot of things up there. I learned a lot of things up there and saw a lot of wild animals waking up early in the morning. You might just see a moose in the front yard or a bear, so you just kind of get used to it, 6 months a day and 6 months of darkness. It takes some getting used to, but you'll adapt to it, son.
Did you like it, or did you kind of just deal with it?
At times I liked it, and at times I just dealt with it.
And while Eddie was in Alaska, he also played basketball.
I was playing for the All Air Force team, so we would play against different bases was composed of college players, like players that played in the pros, but they just didn't have what it takes to make it. So it was basically like that.
And Eddie says playing against these high-level players helped his game.
I did real good against those guys, and it taught me a lot. It just taught me a lot about the game, because when I first got up there, it was all about scoring. And when I started playing against those older guys, and they knew the game, and I'm not saying they didn't play real hard, but they just knew the game so well, and they taught me a lot, and it's not all about physical ability. It's about the mental when it comes to the game.
And Eddie also learned the game from his father, who was a standout running back in high school and who broke many of Herschel Walker's records. He later coached basketball at ECI.
My father was real hard on me, and I thank him for that. Being a coach's son just made me just look at the game better, because I can remember when I was like 12 or 13, and he would go play basketball on Sundays, and he wouldn't let me play. He would just tell me just to watch the game. And when I got older, I kind of realized why he was just making me watch the game.
In practice game action at Parton Park, the Lions midget boys and girls, ages 11 and 12, both took on Evans County. And the girls won their first game 18-1, and Jenny Smith was the winning pitcher.
I think we're done pretty good. I think I got a little off right there at the beginning, but I came back.
How did you do that? How did you get back into the groove pitching?
Well, my team kept me going, so, yeah, they cheered me on pretty good.
All right, when you got it going, you got the 6 strikeouts. How do you think you were throwing then?
I was doing pretty good. There were some that were a little wild, but I think I done pretty good.
And Jenny was one of 2 Lions players to hit it inside the park home run.
Well, I was excited. The season that we played before All-Stars, I wasn't really hitting very well, but now I think I got it back.
Smith hit her home run deep to left field. Meanwhile, Charlie Foskey hit hers into right.
I hit it over there behind first base, and they didn't catch it, so I just ran home.
Foskey plays first, and she says the team played well defensively.
Yeah, we were doing really good. They make pretty good throws to first, too. Katie Norfleet, she's placed third. She throws really hard. Our shortstop is Kayla Mosley. She's good, too. And Kara Graham's the second baseman.
The catcher is Kayla Faison, and she also had some big hits.
I hit a triple, and I hit a line drive, and then they got me out at first.
Now, how did you learn to hit? I'm sure you got a lot of help at home.
Yes, with my dad and my mom practically coming outside with me in the backyard, throwing to me, catching the balls for me and all that.
Do you like being a catcher?
Yes, it's my favorite position. I usually try my best in every position out here, and I feel good about it.
And Kayla says it's really fun to catch Jenny Smith.
It's awesome because when I hold the glove up and she knows where I want her to pitch it at, she pitches it right there to me.
And the Lions girls won their second game 15-0. Meanwhile, the Lions midget boys scored 12 runs in the first inning of an 18-3 victory. And Jeremy Beasley was the winning pitcher for Lions in his first game on the mound as an all-star.
Well, just go out there and pitch as hard as you can. That's all I got to say about it.
When it all began, were you a little nervous or were you confident?
No, I was nervous and confident. I knew I could pitch as hard as I can.
Well, how did you throw today?
I threw pretty good. Walked a couple, and that's all happened.
What were your best pitches?
Fastball, curveball. That's all.
Logan Martin is the midget boys catcher, and he most certainly had a good day at the plate.
I went 2 for 2. My first at bat, I walked.
Tell me about that 12-run first.
Oh, it felt good getting the bat around twice and getting 2 hits that in.
And Cameron Connor, who plays right field, also contributed offensively.
I went 2 for 2, and the other at bat, I hit second base, got a fielder's choice at second base, and that was the third out. But other than that, I went 2 for 2.
One of your base hits was to the opposite field, into right. How did you do that? Do you normally hit that way?
No, not normally. It was just an outside pitch, waited on the ball, opened up my hips, drove it to right field.
Obviously, everybody was hitting for Lions, and Christian Moore, who came in off the bench to play second base, hit a deep ball, a double off the center field fence.
Yeah, I hit the center field. It was pretty good. That line drive fence, and we all hit the ball today.
What kind of pitch was it, and how'd you drive it so well?
It was right down the middle. I just waited on it and drove it.
In the second game, Lions won 8-2, and Bailey Salter almost hit a home run. He doubled off the top of the Green Monster at Little Fenway, and then Hunter Braddock followed with a double off the right field fence. The junior boys opened up their season with a thrilling victory over Metter. They were down 9-6 going to the last inning, and they scored 4 and won it 10-9. And Jackson Warnick started off the big rally with a big RBI triple.
Well, I mean, we just got out there and we got pumped that last inning. We made a couple good plays right there at the end. And we came into them. We had to get the bats rolling. And if we got the bats rolling, that we'd be fine.
How'd you get that pitch to drive that ball into right field?
It was kind of up a little bit. So if I'd have waited on a better pitch, I probably could have hit it harder. But I just stuck the bat barrel out at it, and it went far. So I just started running.
The game's hero was Efren Quintero, because he drove in the tying and the game-winning run with a base hit after talking to head coach Ryan Rogers.
Well, he just said, well, this is where, you're most important and needed in the game. So,
how did you get the big hit?
Well, I just concentrated on the pitch and kept my eyes on the ball and just drove it.
What kind of pitch was it?
Fastball.
Metter came back and won the second game 8-1. And finally, the Mite Boys improved their practice game record to 4-0 with a 13-12 and 21-6 victory over Evans County. And that's a Toombs County Bulldogs Sports Report brought to you by Montgomery Bank and Trust and by Tom Peterson Realtors. I'm Barney Bonfield reporting. Lisa Castile has been doing the normal activities that young athletic girls do. She's been a dancer for 7 years, a cheerleader. She's played basketball, softball, and soccer. But now the 12-year-old, who will be a 7th grader at Robert Toombs, is doing something nobody else in her peer group would even consider doing. She's racing cars, something her dad Chris has been doing for years.
Well, my dad, he's been trying to get me into racing a while now, but just in this past year or so, I've really looked into it, and I've really wanted my own car. I started out with go-kart, and that didn't work out too well. I ran through the fence, and so Daddy got me a race car, and I went out there, and I just started racing, and I've liked it ever since.
Lisa made her debut at Swainsboro Raceway, which is a 1/2-mile high bank clay oval. She was racing in a Monte Carlo in the Road Warrior division, which is a novice division, and her debut went quite well.
Everybody came up to me and told me I actually did pretty good, and the race, people would spin out in front of me and stuff, and I'd have to miss them and almost get hit by other cars. I really didn't know how at first. I didn't know, I talked to the other racers besides my dad too, and they kind of helped me how to when to press the gas and to let off, and when to start turning and when to use the brake and stuff. And I just kind of put it all together and did it one night, and it worked out for me.
Lisa was racing against grown-ups, and she even passed a couple of them.
Guy, he was out there, and I got right up on the back end of his car, and I just went on by him.
I would imagine you were sort of nervous out there, were you?
Well, we did hot laps before, and I was more nervous in the hot laps than I was at the actual race.
Now Lisa wants to do what every driver wants to do.
Get faster and get out in the shop with my dad and work with him and work on my race car and everything.
Now remember, Lisa is a dancer, and she's still a dancer. So what do her dancer friends think of her being a race car driver?
Well, I haven't actually talked to them about it yet, but I told one of my friends that I danced with yesterday, and she was shocked.
Of course, females who race are no longer a novelty. There were 3 in the Indy 500, and Danica Patrick finished 3rd. But Lisa isn't interested in IndyCar racing. She's more interested in NASCAR.
I actually would. I was kind of thinking about it, and if there hasn't been any girls in the past, then maybe I could be the first NASCAR girl racer.